Curious. This UPEX package wasn't here before. It appears to be a Braille alphabet.
Nexus? What does that stand for?
I'm not sure it stood for anything. But I surmised that it had to do with Greg Call's secret base of operations. Now I had to ask around to see if anyone knew about it. You'll never guess who did.
You caught me at the last moment, Mr. Murphy. I was preparing to go abroad.
That sounds good. You know, I've heard Amsterdam is great.
Everything you've heard is true. I highly recommend it. Now, I think I can spare you a few moments before I leave. Your investigation has certainly got you into some obscure channels. Years ago, well after the government signed the UNGP treaty, Gideon Enterprises bought the rights to utilize dozens of abandoned government installations. Nexus was the code name for an underground military facility located in Washington State near Mount Shasta. I don't believe we ever used the location. I'm afraid I haven't heard of it. I don't know who he is. Now there's a name I haven't heard in ages. I hired Sam to work at Gideon some 15 years ago, and after a decade of fruitful labors, we parted amicably. And then sadly we lost touch. Gregory was my right-hand man when I founded Gideon Enterprises, a brilliant programmer. Until recently, he headed a division of the corporation. I heard that Shimming fired him, undoubtedly removing the last traces of my influence. I wish I could be of more assistance. Well, these chess moves are curious and vaguely familiar. Or perhaps they were part of some fabled match I may have read about. I can't say for certain.
Nexus Base took a long time to find. I won't bore you with the details, but the installation looked totally derelict from the outside. Once I found a way inside, I entered an underground laboratory that was brand new, state-of-the-art.
Was there anyone there?
No, but as soon as I stepped inside, I did hear a voice.
Stand by for system scan.
those men that jumped you had put some sort of implant into your head.
Exactly. And it seemed like I was in the best possible place to do something to remove it. I started looking around with just that in mind.
Just that in mind. No pun intended, I'm sure.
Implant removal station. Well, the IRS has always been good at removing everything else from me. Well, apparently I have to do something else before I can start the implant removal procedure. Some kind of chart. Maybe watching all those ER reruns will finally pay off. Oh, there's a card on the clipboard. If the implant I'm carrying around is on this list, it must be number P333. Now I need to figure out which of the kamikaze implants will neutralize it. Standard keyboard. The mysterious informant said I'd find answers to all my questions if I found this place. Maybe this computer is the motherlode. Seems to be a large light panel. This was Greg Call's pass card. STG must have bought these pass card readers in bulk. Well, this looks like an autoclave. It's used for storing items in a sterile environment. A security card reader. Must be for the autoclave. That's the one I'm looking for. I guess Greg Call must have designed the solution to neutralize the Overseer implants. Now I have to find a way to inject it into my bloodstream. A special Mengele model syringe.
You injected yourself with that thing?
I had to. Then I went into the scanning booth. The fun was just starting. The green diamond must indicate the location of the P333 implant. I have to move the kamikaze implant into one of the blood vessels where it will appear as a blue cross. Then, I have to navigate it until it reaches the implant and neutralizes it. Uh-oh. Those flashing dots look like trouble. Must represent antibodies. And I guess they're out to get rid of the new infection. I'd better steer clear. I'd neutralized the Overseer chip, which someone had designed to be fatal in my case, or a controlling device to others. I still had no idea who was pulling the strings, but as I stepped out of the removal station, I heard sounds just outside the main entrance. I ducked behind a display panel and waited to see who it was.
Hello? Hello? Okay. I'm really not very good with surprises.
Well, it isn't my mystery man. What's your name?
Larry Hammond. I would have told you earlier, but I have some serious trust issues going on. With all that's happened, I've got the right to be a little paranoid.
Yeah, I guess you do. You haven't been using the code name Poison Pawn, have you?
No. Why?
That's not important. How'd you get here?
I followed you. I wanted to make sure you came here alone.
Well, I hope you were more careful about being followed than I was.
Now, I have a very strong sense of self-preservation. I even brush my teeth carefully.
Yeah, it shows. Why don't we just start at the top and see what you know? Tell me about Carl Linsky.
Well, Linsky and I both worked on STG, but I didn't know him back then. I recognized his picture in the paper from when he had his suicide.
Well, that's helpful. How about STG?
It was a really mysterious operation. When Greg brought me in to do some programming, I didn't know anybody on the design team, and we weren't encouraged to get to know each other either. Once we got our instructions, we went off to work in different places. None of us knew what each other was working on.
So, who's in charge of this little circus?
Greg had been there the longest. He was pretty much running the show.
So is he this overlord I've come to hear so much about?
Oh, no, there had to have been higher-ups. I knew Greg for a long time. We were in Mutant League together.
Oh. Just so I understand something here, the reason you got in contact with me is because you wanted me to find Call's lab, right? Why?
Well, early on in the program, Greg got really paranoid and relocated his base of operations. And no one knew where he was at. I didn't even see him until after I finished my work with STG. A couple of weeks ago, after all the mysterious deaths, I decided to go underground to get a read on my life expectancy. Well, you see, I was underground, and Greg found me, which didn't give me a great sense of well-being. Anyway, he said he needed my help.
To do what?
He wanted to find the pass cards we'd all been issued. You see, all 8 of us received these cards at the beginning of the project. They were used to transmit data from wherever we were working to some sort of central computer. Now, the whereabouts of that computer, that was top secret.
Well, what about the chess moves?
Oh, I don't know anything about those. I think they were Greg's idea. He designed the cards.
And you've got a card.
Yeah. You take it. Just holding the thing next to my skin just gives me the hives.
No, it's that polyester.
Really?
You told me if I came here that I was going to get the answer to all of my questions.
I said that? No, I was just guessing. I've got something that might help. Now, Greg gave me this the last time I saw him. Now, he said, don't open it unless something happened to him. I think something happened to him.
What are we supposed to do with it?
What are we supposed to do with it? It's your problem now. I told you everything I know. I gave you a pass card, and I gave you what Greg gave me. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go somewhere and try not to get killed. Hasta la pasta, baby.
Hey, Larry. Thanks for the help.
Anytime.
So Larry was the mysterious informant. And he said he wasn't the poisoned pawn. Well, what was in the envelope he gave you?
There was a note written from Greg Call to Larry. There was more to the content of the note than met the eye. Larry's pass card. The corresponding scrambled password is written on the envelope Larry gave me. Carl told Larry not to read this message unless something happened to him. There must be some sort of secret message contained in this note.
To Larry, or whoever's watching this, I'll have to assume that my first plan has failed, and I'm probably dead. The purpose of this message is a warning, and afterwards my computer will reformat, so listen up. I've enjoyed a long friendship with J. St. Gideon. We founded Gideon Enterprises together years ago, and I believe that he is a good man and has honorable intentions, regardless of how I may disagree with his philosophy. For years he has worked on a program called Overlord, a worldwide surveillance system which would allow him ultimately to control key political figures, thereby speeding up the world peace process. This was all made possible about a year ago. A breakthrough in nanotechnology allowed us to create microscopic devices that, once implanted inside someone, would allow us to control the physiological reactions, the chemical reactions, make the person a slave to positive response. And in this way was born the STG project, sort of a Pavlovian remote control program. We recruited 7 other scientists and put them on different phases of the project so none of them would know what the entire project was about. We gave them pass cards which would allow them to transmit data to a central Overlord computer. I found out shortly thereafter that John Klaus, one of the scientists, was intending to sell out the project to the Law and Order Party. When I went to Gideon with my fears, he disregarded them. Either he knew something that I didn't, or he was simply too obsessed to listen to reason. Regardless, I took it upon myself to implement a fail-safe program into Overlord, which I called Stalemate. Now, in order to activate this Stalemate fail-safe program in the Overlord system, all 8 STG pass cards are required. I made a plan to track down the other 7 pass cards. I started with Carl Linsky's home once I'd learned that he'd committed suicide, but I was unable to find the card. The thought crossed my mind that since Carl Linsky and John Klaus were friends, that possibly Linsky staged his own death and is working with Law and Order and John Klaus. But I can't substantiate that. At this point, I'm not sure who I can trust, outside of Larry Hammond and J. St. Gideon, though I'm not sure how much J. St. Gideon will listen to me at this point. Regardless, Gideon's program, Overlord, must be deactivated. If not by me, then by whoever's watching this message.
I knew it!
You knew what?
Sylvia was behind the whole thing. Oh, it all fits together now. Of course, Linsky staged his own suicide.
Okay, you got yourself an interesting theory now. Play with it.
Well, Okay, Linsky worked at the clinic, right? And, well, there's a lot of patients there, and, maybe one was in a coma or terminally ill, and Linsky finds one that is about his same size, maybe even looks like him. And I think that's where Linsky probably gets the idea. So he dresses the patient in his clothes. He, plants the wallet, the keys, and the suicide note on him. They, dump the body in the bay, and it's recovered, and who identifies it?
Sylvia.
Please, we're finished. Thanks. Well, did I get it? Did I figure it out?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe so.
So, well, then why don't you tell me the rest?
Actually, I'm fascinated by your story. Why don't you tell me what you do next?
If it were me, I would probably go to the Law and Order Party headquarters.
That's exactly where I went, because now I had Robert Knott's pass card. This time, there was no sign of our friendly night watchman, though I figured he was around somewhere. I doubted the coffee trick would work again, so I had to figure out another plan. There must be hidden cameras in all the rooms. This could be a problem with a conscious security guard hanging around. I was lucky to get in without the guard seeing me, but I figured he was somewhere in the building. I'd be in trouble if he returned to the front desk and checked out the monitors, so I had to figure something out fast. I've never been musically inclined, but I have been known to take a stand on occasion.
Pretty smart. You saw that on Mission Impossible, didn't you?
Oh? Did they use that trick too? Why, I had no idea.
Did you have any problems setting up the photo?
Are you kidding? What do you think I am, an idiot? Quality plastic place settings. Only the best for Law and Order party boosters. Quality plastic place settings. Only the best for Law and Order party boosters. Well, it never occurred to me to make Jell-O with fruit chunky style. Rug lo mein. Courtesy phone. No way in the world this thing's bugged. I'll bet there's some interesting secrets behind this door. I don't see any visible way to open this door. Odd. The ozonator seems to have a good-sized hole in it. This must be John Klaus's little shop of horrors. Chances are probably about 0 that I'll get into Klaus's computer. I think Klaus has night fever, and he knows how to show it. Something tells me I may not want to look at this photo. Not Gideon, too. This time, Sylvia has a lot of explaining to do. Maybe Klaus moonlights as a film critic. Well, here's something they filed on the floor. An inter-office memo. I have a weak spot for insider information. It sure is a popular model. I see it everywhere. I wonder what this is. Maybe it's an Iron Maiden for small animals. The syringe from hell. Carl Linsky's name is on the printout. That explains Linsky's surgery. It may also explain his suicide. Implant procedures. Question is, if they just want to kill people, why do they go through all the trouble of the implants? What's the real purpose behind using them? These tools look like something out of Dead Ringers. Klaus probably uses this to determine the exact moments his patients kick off. Slade must have given this pass card to Klaus after he murdered whoever it belonged to. I'd gotten everything I needed out of Law and Order, but the odds were pretty good that the guard was waiting in the lobby. I had to figure out a way to get him away from the front desk without letting him know I was in the building. Locked. I'll need the Law and Order ID badge in order to open this door. After my narrow escape from Law and Order, I went home and crashed, but I slept like hell. Slade was still out there, undoubtedly looking for me, and I had nightmares about John Klaus, the mad scientist, turning everyone into zombies. When I woke up the next day, I had no idea what was going to happen. Little did I know, later that day, I'd find out the identity of the poisoned pawn. Sounds like I've got a message on the vid phone.
I have a message for you. You'll probably think it's important. You can pick it up at my shop whenever you get the time to see me. Ciao for now.
Like I've got a message on the vid phone.
Good afternoon, Mr. Murphy. I just wanted to call and thank you for bringing me the disc from Robert Knott. It has everything we need to take down the Law and Order party. The evidence is overwhelming. I owe you a big favor. Within reason, of course. Thank you again.
Sheesh, Jorge, you're not still playing the same game, are you?
So, you got my message.
Yeah, I did.
I was contacted on the internet by the poison pawn you asked me about. He sent an email for you.
For me?
It's over there on that computer.
Thanks.
There was no return address.
That's all right. Well, everything about the message seemed legit. It was from the poison pawn, came through Valdez. It referred to things from Wanda Peck's anonymous letter. But my intuition meter was on the fritz. Was I being set up? Or was I about to meet the man behind the curtain? If so, who was it? J. St. Gideon? One of the supposedly dead scientists? Carl Linsky back from the grave? I waited till midnight and went to the rendezvous point. My instincts told me to beware of a trap, so I found a back door and went in that way. The place appeared to be empty, but I still needed to check out the clock tower. As it turned out, though, I had to search the ground floor first, and search pretty thoroughly before doing anything else. An elevator. Well, like they say, what goes up must come down. This could open some doors for me. Nothing happened. There must be some other power switch in here somewhere. These crates don't look like they've been moved in quite a while. My favorite kind of paneling. Electrical. Old toolboxes? Well, they're like Christmas presents for an amateur handyman like myself. A rock. I wonder if there's a hard place nearby. The boxes are all in various stages of dry rot.
Shame to cover such a beautiful mouth. Don't you think so, Mr. Murphy? It was necessary, of course. You see, I couldn't have Dulcinea warning off her knight errant from charging the windmill.
I was wondering when you'd crawl out of that rat's nest.
Contraire, Senor Quixote. It is you who are the rat. And you, my dear, the perfect piece.
Who's the poison pawn? Is it you? Is it Sylvia here?
Sylvia? The poison pawn? It was Miss Linsky's father who wrote the anonymous letter to Capricorn. We found copies of it while we were going through his papers after his unfortunate death.
So why'd you have to trick me into coming here?
I brought you here to offer you a trade. You tell me what you know, and I let the little missy free. So, let's begin with the STG pass cards. Where are they?
The best of my recollection there, somewhere on the Spanish High Plains with my trusted servant, Sancho. I've got them with me.
Excellent. Now, in 30 words or less, tell me everything you know about the STG project.
Not too much. I mean, I've heard implants, mind control, satellite tracking. Oh, and then there was that little experiment you pulled on me.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out quite as we had planned. You were supposed to be a good little detective and die, like Mr. Linsky.
I mean, Linsky was your friend. I'd hate to see what you do to your enemies.
Well, you're about to find out. Now, for the sake of Miss Linsky here, tell me what else you found out about.
Well, there's someone running around with the name Overlord. He seems to be running things. You know, I think that's you.
Excellent! Excellent! Now, as a token of my appreciation, one last kiss.
Why'd you tell him he's never gonna let me go?
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Murphy. It looks like she's not in the mood. For once! Well, let's just move on to the murder-suicide portion of the program, shall we?
You said you'd let her go. We made a deal.
Oh, Mr. Murphy, please. Don't compound your gullibility with your stupidity. I mean, she's more of a threat to me than you are. The mere fact that she's been intimate with several of my enemies, not to mention a handful of my allies, makes her a real threat.
You're a liar! Don't listen to him, Tex. I've never had anything to do with Klaus or any of it. I swear it.
Well, I didn't say you were involved. But I do realize you have the capacity for treachery. I mean, for all I know, you may be as innocent as you claim to be. I'm just not a risk taker. Oh, don't look so sad, Tex. At least you know that you were the last, I mean, perhaps she even cared for you. Much as he's capable. Well, down to business. Mr. Slade? Mr. Slade? I leave the necessary unpleasantries in your capable hands.
My pleasure, Mr. Klaus.
That was close. I was beginning to wonder how we were going to get out of this.
Don't stop wondering on my account. See, the way I got it figured, once I get all those pass cards, someone will pay top dollar to get them back. I was just taking out the middleman.
If you take a personal check, I'd be happy to put in my bid.
Well, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think you're in the right tax bracket. I was thinking more along the lines of, say, Jason Gideon. So, who wants to go first?
I will. But I wonder if you'd consider granting me a last request.
I suppose. As long as it's reasonable.
Could I kiss Sylvia goodbye? At least that way, I could die a happy man.
Well, I wouldn't want you to die unhappy. Go ahead. But don't do anything stupid.
I'm gonna find a way to get us out of this, okay?
Oh, that was very touching. Now let's get down to business. So who's first?
You know, Slade, any little girl looks tough with a gun. Why don't you pretend you're a real man? Let you and I go mano a mano, huh?
I'll give you one thing, you've got guts. All right. I'll make an exception this one time. No honor among thieves, eh, Murphy? Why don't you just come out first? Make things easy on yourself. If you don't, I might just kill your girlfriend first. You can't hide forever. I'll get you sooner or later. Soon is better for me.
Okay, Slade, I give up. I'm not gonna get out of this situation alive anyway. I do have a proposition for you.
For some reason, you don't seem to understand. I don't need to make a deal with you.
You want to blackmail Gideon, don't you? To do that, you're gonna need all 8 STG pass cards. I know where you can get 7 of them.
What sort of a bloody drongo do you think I am?
Here's the STG pass card that Sonny stole from you. You let Sylvia and me go, I'll get you the other 6. Oops. Tell me something. Why do they call you Big Jim Slade?
Well?
Yeah, that clarifies it.
Well, if that didn't, these will. Ow, that wasn't too fair.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's too bad. You know, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you are good. You are very, Very good. You give lessons?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, this one's on me. Oh, look. Time to die.
Slade!
This is for Sonny. Okay, did you overhear anything else?
No.
All right, look. Take this. You keep your eye on him. Cops will be here in a bit, so he shouldn't be a problem. But there's something he's got that I need.
Tex, about that thing that Klaus said about me.
Look, Sylvia, your business is your business.
No,
I understand, okay?
Please, please listen.
It's okay, really. The past is the past.
It's important to me. I want to tell you there's been some things in my life that I'm not very proud of. I used to work for an agency, an escort agency.
If I get out of this, I'm gonna bite your bloody leg off.
If he says one more thing, I want you to just shoot him.
I've known a lot of guys, but that was the past. It's behind me now.
And it's all right, okay? I mean, really, it's all right with me. It really doesn't matter, so relax, okay?
But I want it to matter to you. I've never had anything to do with Klaus or Law and Order or any of it.
What the hell is this? Card. Got it. Keep your eye on him.
I'm
okay?
a new woman now. I'm not the person I used to be.
Right.
Oh, come on. You did not fall for that old line, did you?
No, no way.
Yes, you did, didn't you? Oh. Okay, so how did Sylvia justify this whole escort thing with you?
Well, I guess she'd just gotten into modeling, was barely getting by. A friend told her of a great way to make money.
Yes.
I guess that's the only reason she did it.
Oh, likely story.
Yeah, well, I guess I was pretty gullible back then. Anyway, while Slade and Klaus were waiting for me to show up, Sylvia overheard them talking. Apparently, Klaus had operated on Carl Linsky. When he removed the tumor, he replaced it with an implant that eventually drove Linsky insane. Slade just tracked him to make sure he committed suicide.
I still think my theory's better.
Well, I told you yours was a better story. But regardless, Klaus was using Linsky as a guinea pig for the Law and Order Party for what they intended to use Overlord for.
Did Sylvia overhear anything else?
Yeah, she did, as a matter of fact. Now, Klaus still wasn't sure where the Overlord main computer was, but he suspected it was at J. St. Gideon's mansion.
And that's where you went next.
Right. When I told Sylvia, she said she knew how I could get in.
A shortcut to the bedroom, I'll bet.
Actually, that's what it was. Look, don't say it. I know I was a moron, but she did get me inside the mansion. So there I was, standing in Gideon's bedroom without any idea of what I was looking for.
Naughty pictures of Sylvia?
You really do have a one-track mind. When I told Sylvia, she said she knew how I could get in.
A shortcut to the bedroom, I'll bet.
Actually, that's what it was. Look, don't say it. I know I was a moron, but she did get me inside the mansion. So there I was, standing in Gideon's bedroom without any idea of what I was looking for.
Naughty pictures of Sylvia?
You really do have a one-track mind. When I told Sylvia, she said... Well, I don't have a password for Klaus's card. Something tells me I'm gonna need one before this thing is over. Maybe I should look around his office. Gideon's all set up for a round of tag team chess. That's a pawn. Probably ought to have my face on it. It looks like solid gold. Gideon must have paid a king's ransom. I could stare at this painting for like 8 seconds without getting bored. Court, a novel by the author of Joy of Chess, More Joy of Chess, and everything you've ever wanted to know about chess but were afraid to ask. Gideon must use these for strength training. Sylvia was probably more of an aerobic workout. A dumbbell bar. Reminds me of my dad's favorite hangout. The chess set seems to be missing a few pieces. About 26 of them. Wonder why. Something big just opened up around here. I stepped out of a secret elevator onto a balcony overlooking a huge gallery filled with priceless paintings, beautiful sculptures, and classic statues.
In other words, a place where you were completely out of your element.
If you're implying that I have poor taste, then wouldn't that reflect poorly upon my choice of dates?
All right, I take it back. Continue.
Well, large chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and across the room I could see a set of doors. Unfortunately, the floor of the gallery was pressure sensitive and lit up with extremely high voltage. There had to be some way to get across, but it certainly wasn't obvious just how I was supposed to do it. If I could get that even with the balcony, I might be able to find a way to reach it.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that. I can just imagine you shimmying across on that pole.
It's my formal dance training. Luckily, there was a big control panel on the outside of one of the walls. I just had to find it. Need to jump down to the floor inside the display walls. There must be a place where I can run this disc somewhere around here. It sure beats the aquarium of guppies I had when I was a kid. A dinosaur coin bank. Must be a keepsake from when Gideon was like the rest of us. The bat phone. Looks like a video game I played on Dad's old 286. As I remember, the game was just too darn big to fit on one floppy disk. Those people at Glamour Shots really do some nice work. Books, books, and more books. Gideon's got a whole herd of horsey pictures. In my experience, bookshelves should always be inspected thoroughly. Some sort of metal cross. Nice wings. This appears to be an elaborate cabinet, but I can't figure out how to open it. The cross must need to be placed in the right spot, probably in one of those outlines that popped up when I first put the cross on the cabinet. Nothing boosts my confidence like finding a security card. I'll bet Gideon bought this with his hard-earned cash. I'll need to find a little something before I can open this. What is this? This thing is ancient. Maybe I'll let Gideon know I was here by beating his high score. These chess terms must be passwords. Could be useful at some point. Some sort of metal cross. The relatively obscure philosopher Mediocrities. Still fashionable after all these years. I don't care much for guns, except of course when I'm hunting wabbit. This door leads back to Gideon's gallery. Looks like the access panel requires a numeric code. Well, I hope Gideon got a good deal on these pool balls, because they're all numbered wrong. An external display of Gideon's mansion. Good thing no one was on guard duty when I broke in. Unless I miss my guess, that's a graphic of Alcatraz Island. Looks like Gideon's got a prison flick on the TV. And it's got a built-in disc player. How nice. Security override panel. I hope it has something to do with the gallery floor. Looks like it needs a security card.
Tex, you did it. Slade, when the cops came, he confessed to everything. The status of my daddy's death has been changed from suicide to homicide, and I got the money.
That's great, Sylvia. That's great. I'm not done with the case yet.
What do you mean you're not done?
There's still something I've got to do.
Why? We're rich. You can retire.
This isn't about money.
Well, what in the world else could it be about?
Call it a moral obligation.
What about your immoral obligation?
Gideon's project's out of control. I mean, a lot of people have died. Somebody's got to do something about it, and I'm in the best position to do that.
Why don't you just stay out of it? You've got plenty of things to take care of now, including me.
If our future's worth having, it's worth waiting for.
Look, we have everything around here to make us completely happy. How dare you want to throw it away? What are you trying to prove, huh? That you're brave and strong? Well, I've already seen that. What you're talking about is stupid.
Obviously don't understand me very well. I got into this business to help people, and I'm not just gonna sit around and watch this thing happen. I mean, how would I feel about myself?
You know what? You go play Boy Scout. I don't care.
Sylvia, I want us to be together, but you can't change me.
You know what? You do what you have to do. Just don't expect me to bring flowers to your funeral.
I left for Alcatraz right after Sylvia stormed out of my office. Probably should have gotten a good night's sleep first, but I was pretty wound up.
Poor baby.
Yeah, well, it turns out it didn't matter. As soon as I landed on Alcatraz and stepped out of my speeder, something zapped me and I blacked out. Must have been one of those security droids. When I came to, I was in a locked jail cell in one of the old prison sections. The bricks in this section of the cell wall look a little loose. Maybe this is my only way out. This wall looks pretty shaky, and I'd just as soon avoid a cave-in. I've got to create a hole large enough for me to crawl through, but it'll have to be perfectly square with no other gaps. I guess I can't move that brick if it's the only thing supporting the one above it. A security droid. I guess it's not going to worry about me as long as I'm in the cell. That shelf looks like it could be knocked loose, and there's something sitting on it. This makes a nice makeshift grappling hook. What if there's anything around here to grapple? I crawled through the hole in the bars, climbed over the railing, and jumped down to the cell block floor. I quickly realized I had two problems. One, I had no idea where to start looking, and two, the cell block was being monitored by a security droid. It wasn't that smart, but if I wasn't in a cell when it passed me on the ground level, I'd be Hamburger Helper. That's a roll of barbed wire. Maybe I should unroll this. Looks like I'll need a key. World War I style gas mask. I wonder if it still works. Looks like I'll need a key. This door must lead to the infirmary. There's a key on that peg. That gas canister is bolted tightly to the piping. This is the key to cell block D. This crate feels totally empty. This cell's full of ancient supply crates. Probably too old to be of any use, but I better check it out. This cell's full of ancient supply crates. Probably too old to be of any use, but I better check it out. This thing looks pretty corroded. I guess it only controls the 10 cell doors on the ground level. And if it's not working correctly, it'll be a trick to figure out where to move the lever to open the cell I want to get into. This timer and detonator could be a useful item. There's a dirty air filter in the garbage bag. Well, what do we have here? Looks like a dirty air filter. Well, this is quite the air filtration system. Must be a clean room and some computer equipment around here somewhere. There seems to be a problem with one of these units. A warning light's flashing. The maintenance droid replaced the filter and then exited through a door at the end of the hall. This gas canister is ancient. Probably used by prison guards in case of a riot. Wonder if it still works. I'll need to find something to open this with. At the rate I'm going, security guards everywhere will start referring to me as the Sandman. Judging by the amount of hair on this brush, I'm guessing Mr. Gideon may want to check into a hair replacement system before too long. Slipped through the DNA scanner and entered some kind of computer control center. I walked up to what looked like a central terminal and typed in the word stalemate. Suddenly, a command popped up telling me to insert a pass card.
You'd gotten into the system.
I got out the 8 STG pass cards and inserted one into the console. At that point, it asked me for a password, which I had to type in.
Stalemate sequence initiated. To deactivate Overlord, insert pass cards now.
Exit this program immediately, Mr. Murphy.
Sorry, Mr. Gideon, I can't do that.
You don't understand what you're doing. I am not the enemy.
I know, but Overlord is.
Then you do not understand its purpose.
I think I do. Do you know how close Law and Order came to overtaking your system?
A calculated risk, my friend. It is the only solution.
Well, a lot of innocent people have been killed. I'm just trying to make sure there are no more victims.
It is better that some die, rather than allow the entire planet to degenerate into total chaos.
No one's got the right to play God.
I agree. It's unconscionable. But the fact is, it's done every day, and moreover by people who aspire to nothing more than avarice and domination. What do you imagine stopping me will accomplish?
But what do you think you'll accomplish?
Overlord is the hope, Mr. Murphy. Oh, with it, I can influence events in the global political arena for good.
Good for you, maybe.
Good for all those who respect mercy and justice.
You've created just a little bit of a monster here, Mr. Gideon. It wouldn't be the first time you lost control of your creation. Law and Order Party was going to use it for its own purposes. Other groups are going to try, and eventually one of them's going to succeed. This little nightmare of yours has got to be destroyed.
Oh, I pity your blindness, and regret that you cannot be reasoned with. Let the match begin.
I'm black, right?
Oh, I'm afraid not. But, you have the first move.
Well, that's good. Found myself looking out over a huge virtual chessboard covered with chessmen. Gideon had said that I was white, which of course had fewer pieces. Some type of 3D interface popped up with a menu of 8 possible moves on it. As far as I could tell, Call had programmed it so I'd have to choose the correct sequence of moves in order to checkmate the Black King and deactivate Overlord.
Overlord, system deactivated.
Checkmate, Mr. Gideon.
Your case is finished. I've been saving this to celebrate my success. I suppose I should drink to yours. to the future. Mr. Murphy? I shan't be needing it anymore.
Find a penny, pick it up. All day you'll have good luck. See you, Buck. Harley.
So, Mr. Tex Murphy, private investigator, are you ready to take the dive?
Depends. What's in it for me?
Well, let me give you a little taste.
Keep talking.
Well, how about a romantic night in the Caribbean or sun-filled days on the beaches of Rio? How about skiing in the Alps?
I don't ski.
I'll teach you how to ski, among other things.
I'm kind of a white picket fence, kids, dog kind of guy.
We'll talk about that later. Right now, we have the whole world to explore.
You know, Sylvia, I've been thinking, $1 million isn't what it used to be. I think we need to get an investment counselor.
Well, $850,000.
I've already spent $150,000?
But that reminds me, I got a little something for you. Hold on.
You didn't have to do this.
This is in celebration of solving your first case.
Wow. It's a hat.
All great detectives wear hats. I thought you should have a fedora.
I hope you didn't pay too much for it.
I paid way too much for it.
What's this?
This was supposed to have been owned by Humphrey Bogart. I know how much you like him.
Here, help me try it on. Maybe we can put it in a frame or something. I don't know what to say.
Say thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Would you like one?
Sure, doll. Why not? Gideon was probably right.
No, he wasn't. You were. Hey, this is not a perfect world, and no one expects it to be. But the most important thing is our freedom. The freedom to make choices for ourselves. And yes, every now and again, maybe the freedom to make an occasional mistake. You are much too critical of yourself.
It's just that I guess I'm not used to hanging my heart out on my sleeve. I feel like I'm bleeding all over you.
Hey, whose idea was it? It was mine, wasn't to have this talk. And you know what? I appreciate how honest and forthright you've been.
Hell, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here with the world's most wonderful woman, and I haven't been able to make a commitment to you. No, I saved my commitment for women like Sylvia, who caused me nothing but grief. Sonny and Gideon, they were right, because I didn't know anything about life. And I was just getting set up for a big fall, I can tell you that right now. Didn't even take very long with Sylvia. I mean, Sylvia was the only woman that I ever trusted enough with my heart. And not only did she not want it, she punched a hole in it with her high heel as she walked out the door.
I am so sorry that you've had to go through all this. I know how hard this has been for you to open up and to talk to me. You okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling very vulnerable and I feel stark naked. But for some strange reason, I actually feel better. Go figure.
Good. Because I know how hard it is for you manly men to open up to us women. But sometimes it helps to share the pain. And who knows, maybe it'll get rid of all those nightmares you were telling me about.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You're a wonderful woman, did you know that?
I know. Right now, we're just very good friends who happen to be attracted to each other.
Extremely attracted to each other.
Oh, okay. Well, do you remember what you said a few minutes ago about being very attractive?
I think the wording was very, very attractive.
I have something better for you to do with your mouth.
Oh, no!
What? It's me. It's me. It's my breath.
No, it has nothing to do with
I
you.
shouldn't have had the garlic sauce.
Look. Our speeder, it has been stolen. Somebody has stolen our car.
Oh.
Cannot believe this. Man, I knew it. It was just too good to be true. The best moment of my life, followed by the world's worst. I mean, here I am, my speeder's stolen out here. I'm sitting on a great... God, that's hot!
It's Tex. Look, it's gonna be okay. Look, why don't we take a cab home? We'll call the police from home, and then tomorrow we'll call the insurance company. You don't have insurance? Oh.
Well, I
no.
did have insurance, but the fact of the matter was I was never using it, so I kind of let the policy expire.
Okay, so maybe the police can help you track it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the police are gonna drop everything for Murphy's missing speeder.
Oi! You guys saving that spot or what?
Hell no. If you want it, take it.
You okay?
You know, actually, our speeder was just stolen.
Bummer.
Yeah, it is.
Tell you what, would you guys like a lift to the cop shop?
No, we'll walk.
He's really just trying to do us a favor.
Chelsea, I'm getting a really bad feeling about this. It's like some sort of deja vu or something.
Oh, come on. I think you're just upset over losing the speeder. Look, don't be stubborn right now. You know what? We would really appreciate it, would you?
Hop in.
Thank you very much.
Glad to help.
Oh, look, his head is even uglier than yours.
What's wrong with my hat?
It's a shame to lose such a good parking spot.
Yeah, well, thanks for reminding me.
Sorry about that. Pity about the speeder.
We'll be okay. Hey, thank you very much again for the ride.
Pleasure. Glad to help.
Don't miss the most exotic and exquisite exhibit of the decade. The Fabergé World Tour 44. All mad splendor of imperial Russia. Don't miss.
So you folks from around here?
Oh, my name's Chelsea.
Name's Dalton.
Hey, thanks again.
Thanks for sitting up front.
This is not a good idea.
What do you want me to do about it?
Now that we're 50 feet off the ground, I don't know.
Who's your mate?
Oh, that's Tex. He's having a very bad day.
That true, Tex?
Oh no, everything's just going peachy.
Well, things could get worse, sir.
And every time you meet somebody, you say, oh, you're right, it's doing right. You are here to take the time to fight and try to cry. Better chance, come on, friends. Because they don't run away. Every shadows, they don't pretend. Create a world, and every day, this is life, another day. And once again, my heart won't be in this way. No more shadows, in this face. And the light that seems to shine,